Welcome back to Opening Statements. Let us talk about what is trending actor. Darius McCrary finds himself as a trending topic this morning, but for his courtroom antics instead of his popular role on the hit TV comedy Family Matters. Wow, and what not really a dream just dropped me. Home a call from now, known for his role as playing Eddie Winslow on Family Matters. Darius McCrary stood before a judge earlier this week for some more serious matters. McCrary was arrested in California earlier this month, stemming missed court appearance in Michigan relating to his failure to pay child support, but he chose to represent himself during the hearing and even presented this motion before the court. Continued to I know my eye for my 14th my right to due process, possibly trapped to figure out why I was under due process clause of the 14th Amendment or so, just to avoid radar by the food court, which has no jurisdiction of the saying, oh, that's a bit one, 4240, has no jurisdiction. Before we need to establish trust issue. All right, so let us break down the courtroom conduct, shall we? Let us get our guest spots on. Darius McCrary's initial statement in that motion we just saw he made before the court. Let us bring back an attorney. David Byrne, and welcome in entertainment commentator Holland Reed. David, I want to start with you here. Yes, not a lawyer, but he was really good spouting, His rights and citing amendments and due process, would you think? Yeah. Making a special appearance for De Bruyne on this. Yeah, that's a lot, right? But I'll tell you why he was, and the points. He actually was hitting the points guy next edition, because anytime we talk about that, its tradition will first has to be established is the jurisdiction of the original court. That the defendant is the actual person in the complaint or warrant. And then there is a process. It asks the extradition process. So there is an old adage that says he who represents himself has a fool for a club. I bet any here then do a bad job, honestly. Yeah, I was impressed. I mean, he definitely researched the issues. I was impressed for Nan lawyer to come in there and make that argument to the judge that he did a fine job. Colin Reed, if we want to know what you think, please. You're going to know what I think, because this is the case of grew delusional, or you actually really smart at S, like stay in your lane. Play your part, you reenactor. And 2, you need. But maybe not. It might want to be careful when you redefending your life, your livelihood, and your right. But I will say to David S.'s point, I agree with it was cringy to watch, but also very informant, because he didn't know what he was talking about. What I will say is, though, when the judge told him to get a lawyer, I was like, yeah, maybe. Do that only because he was coming off a little, and that this really unhinged, but you just want to make sure you have the degree behind. You and you're redefending yourself, so I mean it when he did come, with the fact he came with the facts, but still, so nobody wants to see it, was a little crime, haha. You're it. Yeah, it was really not a bad start, that is. A good way to put it was not terrible at a decent start, free non-lawyer, representing themself in the courtroom. So that and things changed a bit for him in the courtroom. So he had this to say, while responding to the state's reply to this fugitive complaint that was filed against him. Let's watch. There's no your party. Also see him here, special appearance. You're a special appearance. Certainly hearings, or do you just heard over and over a special appearance you say you were here for? Is that parents? Who are you? Assuring of will. Us. To her. So we're asking, should Darius McCrary acted as his own attorney? We know he's an actor, Holland Reed. You're an actress. I want you to weigh in first on this, please. Lee, I feel like from now on I just want to be here on a special appearance. I know I heard that I use a prosecutor. I'm sure that I've never heard anyone stand up and say that about themselves and speaking third person. I think that also is kind of like the where Hollywood can really kind of remove you from reality. You're in a courtroom and you're not special appearance. You are yourself representing yourself. So that again, cringeworthy, not too terrible, but very interesting to watch. Yeah, definitely you have the first time I signed David Bruno, I thought. He doesn't sound well here, what is going on? It's like a strong start. And then, what is happening here? But then, when I watch it, I thought, is he confused, thinking that he wants to put his appearance on the record? Like we say, good morning. Julie Grant representing the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You're on it, and I introduce myself that. Is that what he's doing that? I want to know your thoughts statement. All the time, who knows what he's doing, honestly. This is a child support case. He is not paying his child port, And then also the prosecutor made an argument that he's a flight risk because he was arrested at the border of Mexico. And the argument is that he's developing real estate in Mexico, and that is why he was down there. I mean, round and round and round we go. How about just pay your child support? Okay, then you can get out, and then you do have to make special appearances and, have to do all this legal work that you have no idea what you're redoing. Right, yeah, it's really sad. I mean, so this warrant's issued, and he gets picked up on this warrant, and so that's why the challenge of, the jurisdiction here, and he's, wait a second, I'm in California. What up with this in Michigan? And so he was right to question things, but yeah, like you said. David, if he was unpaying, and we do not know when to be clear on that he needs to clear up his problems, if there some outstanding of bills that perhaps he should go back to acting. I loved him on Family Matters. I love that show. Who else was a TGIF good? Growing Up Holland, David Holland. Yeah, I mean family that lived that we would you say it did. I do that, but I do that or go. Yeah, as right holiday you. Thank you day in a fashion. And actually no, you're fine. I mean, what do you think we know he was a big child star? Do you think he should maybe think about going back to work? Julie, isn't that funny that you said that? Because the first thing that came to mind was Lindsay Lohan. It's like we just wanted her to get back in her groove, and her redemption stories in half Hollywood are always the best stories because when you get off kilter, you kind of like to lose your way along the way with, especially coming from being a child star, RITs, hard to get back on the horse. But when you do, and we get to see people working their magic, we love that. We root for that. No one is looking at you any. Winslow and say we want him to fail. We want to root for him. I think you need to go back and find a job as a lawyer on television with what S Twitter, that shows that are. Yeah, I feel like you can probably play one very well. We should, what? There's Sun Nu Yen. Premiering tonight, can't wait to watch Boston. It's Blue at Donnie Wahlberg's show, maybe he could be.